Good morning, and welcome to another Minority Counterpoint program. This is Gwen Blackburn, your hostess. My guest this morning is an author and has done some exploring on dark skin and the minority youth. His name is James Tarantin. I probably said it wrong, but he'll straighten it out. He has written a book about this topic in his recent writing of the equation. So he's going to talk to us about where he's been with this, what the equation is about, and what he has found about youth in particular and the color of skin and how that all translates. So stay tuned, and we are going to now hear from James. So good morning and welcome to Minority Counterpoint, James.
Good morning. How are you, Gwen?
I'm great, and how about you?
I'm great.
Good.
Too.
Now, as I understand it, you are an immigrant, and I don't know where you're from, and I don't know what was different in your country.
So for me, the thing is that you're right. I am an immigrant. I'm an American citizen. I came here to America at the age of 20 from Jerusalem. But the main thing that I want to be able to speak with you today, if I may, is to really, speaking about whether you are an immigrant or you are a minority or you are a young American citizen or you are an older gentleman. What happens today is people just, I believe the greatest epidemic is people just don't have the chance to accomplish their dreams. And, when you grow up, we're being labeled by luck and IQ or the color of one's skin, and people tell you it's not possible. And it causes a certain environment where you have a limited life. And I absolutely believe that whether you are an older gentleman or a younger, or as I said, immigrant or a minority, everybody wants to have something more. They want to accomplish their dreams. And I really believe that based on my experience in life, being an immigrant, is that the book that I wrote, The Equation, will give them the ability to accomplish their dreams, because it's more than just self-empowerment or explaining luck, but it's literally how can one transform their lives right now and design a new life for them and reaching to new heights. So for me, I believe that I can very much relate to their struggle, and be more than happy to speak with you about that. How can immigrants and minorities can understand, okay, what is the problem I've got, if I've got any, why I can be successful, and how can I accomplish my dreams right now.
So let me just ask you, now, you came from Jerusalem, and what did you find different in America where minorities are concerned than your country, where you
Well,
came
I'll tell
from?
you, I think that it doesn't matter whether you are a minority in France or you are a minority in Australia or in America or in Jerusalem. I think that, they all, to some degree, experience the same emotions and have the same aspirations. It might be just a different color or a different label, but they all experience the same thing. And I think that the main two problems, and which is quite simple. One is when you see a minority or an immigrant, we automatically sometimes have labels, and more often, I believe that it just takes greatness on one's part to see what happens in this guy or girls under the surface, meaning not to judge them by who they are, but see their greater potential. And secondly, again, if you look about life, many of the most successful people, billionaires or pop stars, were immigrants or minorities and came from very poor families. And even in Silicon Valley, you have people there who had no experience, no school education, and were labeled with no IQ and succeeded to change, the world. So I think it's not a matter of that, and it's a matter. So these are the main two problems sometimes that people have, and I believe that by changing it is about transformation, is about getting and accomplishing your dreams.
So let me just ask you, because it said something. I read something where you said about when did you find children distinguishing between colors and dividing among themselves?
I experienced that when I was very young. You know, when I was very young, I had and I call it even an honor to experience that, because I think it's a matter of perspective. One can look and experience that sort of a tragedy and say, oh, you know, I'm not lucky, and another person can look at it from another perspective and say, hey, you know what? Now I can learn from it. I can expand on it. I can inspire others, millions around the world who experience the same but just don't know how to see the advantage of it. So, you know, for me, what I learned from, you know, when you experience that at a very young age, I literally understood, you know what, if minorities are very much like revolutionary inventions. So many people deny them. So many people say no to them. But more than often, the more people say no, the more you know you have something. You know, 20 companies rejected the photocopying machine. So it doesn't mean that the photocopying machine is bad, but it actually means it has something. And the same thing, I believe, applies to minorities and immigrants and young adults all across the world. Life is like a bicycle. The tougher it is, it means that you are up. And also, and very much minorities and immigrants and, you know, again, young kids all around the world are very much alone. And when you are alone, you are an orphan. And most of the most successful billionaires and even pop stars in the world were orphans. Even in our pop culture history, you see Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Superman, even they were orphans in these stories, you know. Mm-hmm. But it causes people to have more commitment, and fear ceases to exist, and you become more self-reliant. And also, minorities and immigrants are more sensitive sometimes, and they're becoming much more authentic and simple, and they know how to share love. So I believe that it just sometimes is even better to be a minority or to be an immigrant, because you get some qualities that maybe others choose not to acquire for whatever reason it might be.
But you also said something about the young boys and girls falling between the cracks.
No, no. What I was trying to say is that you know, is when some immigrants or minorities or young adults or even people now who are older who experience that sort of tragedy before, they don't fall between the cracks. I just meant that I believe that, you know, the equation book will just give them the ability to see how the bad things that happen to them can transform them right now. Nobody, I believe, can fall between the cracks. It's a matter of a decision of a person.
Oh, you think so?
I believe so, that people can, you know, have the ability to fundamentally transform and have the freedom to do that. Of course, that, you know, people experience certain tragedies within their lives by other people, but it's a matter of perspective, how you see it. You know, you cannot so much control what happens to you. You can more than often control your reaction to what happens to you.
And yet your book actually looks at the modern troubles that minority youth face. Is that true?
Yes, the book, through my experience, it takes that story that happens on 4 continents and has the most exotic adventures all across the world. And through that story, where the hero is trying to discover an equation that will give people the runway to accomplish their dreams, through this exotic adventure, unexpected adventure, through that people experience, okay, what that hero had to go through in order to get there. So there you see the black skin that the hero had, or you see the wish for love that he's, you know, wanting to have this Romeo and Juliet relationship, and many other things that many people all over the world can relate to.
And so in your book, The Equation, is this the kind of thing that you have pointed out in the book?
Absolutely, absolutely. But you don't. I believe that the beauty of the book, as we received I got letters from so many young adults around the world who say that it's not that they love the book so desperately, and I do mean it when I say it, because they say you don't actually put it in bullet points. you put it as a story that just inspires me. It's a book that I can give on to my child. It's something that I see that I can give to a perfect stranger or people that I absolutely love. So it's not in bullet points, but in actual an inspiring story that spans across 58 years and tells a saga of changing times. And that's why I believe that people from all across the world in every walk of life in any age can and will relate to that story.
And how now somehow, and I'd just like to have you quickly say before we have to take our break. Somehow, Larry King, they used to be on television. Was you were involved with him and in the writing of this?
No, I was not involved with him on his TV at all. He just, was my mentor and my fierce friend, and who, as I said, took me from the street and said, you know what, here's your dream, meaning to open my company and to write the books and so on, and said, let me be there for you. So he gave me all his advice, gave me his love. I could go to his home whenever I wanted.
Okay.
He gave me here and there connections. It was like a father figure that I didn't have while you were all alone in one country. And I think that's something that many young adults relate to because they're so alone.
Right.
Even if they leave from New York to Los Angeles or they leave from Houston to Washington, they're just alone and they have nobody there to assist them. They have no one who can be there for them. So when they hear that story, they just are inspired.
Well, this is a good place for us to take a break, and we're going to come back. I want you to really get into talking more about the equation and what you hope it will do and how people can get it. But for right now, we need to take a break. I need to tell our listeners that you are tuned to Minority Counterpoint, and we are talking about skin color and all that good stuff with James Tarantin, and we are going to take a break and come right back, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Minority Counterpoint. This morning, we are talking about colors between young people and why it makes a difference with them. We're talking with an author, James Tarantin. He has written a book about it, and he has been sharing his thoughts with us, and he's going to tell us more about the book, where you can get his book, and what it will, in fact, tell you or explain to you or all those good things. So welcome back, James. Now, talk about the equation and what it is all about, and how does it focus on color changes or whatever?
No problem. So first of all, I'll tell you how it came about so you will know. When I was 16, I had a personal tragedy, and I'm also coming from a minority, and where my aunt passed away. And I asked myself, there must be an equation that will give people the solution to accomplish, because I believe that if people accomplish, they have a better life. So I was 16 years old. I did deep research for 6 months, and at the turn of the millennium, after an exotic adventure to Rome, I saw the equation in a dream. I was 16. And then when I was 25, I said, you know what, okay, it's time to handwrite the equation into, I believe, the first novel that will give people adventures beyond imagination and will show them through these adventures, whether you are immigrant or minority or a young adult who likes MTV, to give them what it takes to accomplish their dreams. And for me, I'm always saying, if you look at now, let's say the biggest two challenges in the world, one is energy and one is education. But it's not just energy outside, it's also energy from within. And education is not just always going to school or getting a paying job, because sometimes it's about loving the job that you're having. And if it's not always about, the unemployment rate, it's about the rate of people who love their job. And 90% of people don't love their job.
Exactly.
They don't even love their job. So the question is that how do you give people energy from within so they can so they can transform and have the best job that they want? And that job is their runway to accomplish their true dreams. And that's exactly what the Equation book is all about. And they can buy the Equation book by James on Amazon, or even go to my website, which is the-equation.com. And how they do that, meaning how they get energy from within, how they can say yes to happiness and yes to wealth, and then yes to transform and getting the dream that they want, is by understanding that if they have a tragedy, they can transform right now. And Steve Jobs used to say, being fired by a rifle was the best thing that ever happened to me. And there was a black swimmer. His name was Cullen Jones, who at the age of 5 he almost drowned and died at the pool. And now he became the biggest swimmer in the world almost, and he became an Olympic swimmer.
Oh.
So it shows you how somebody who's a swimmer like Cullen Jones, who at the age of 5 was black and almost died from drowning, how that tragedy transformed him to become one of the fastest swimmers in the world. So that's the main message, that if you have a tragedy, you can transform right now. If you believe that you have pains,
yeah.
I believe that the equation book can give them a runway to happiness, and it's their time to shine.
Oh, okay. Now, let me ask you, James, you came to, did I understand that you immigrated to the United States alone with no family, no money, or?
You're right.
How did you happen to do that?
That's what I believe. There's a line who says that, once in your life, you have to be able to reach for immortality. Meaning, once in your life, you have to do something that has moral courage, where you say, you know what, it's my time to go against the gods of risk. It's my time to be brave, to begin bold. It's my time to design destiny, dare and defy, and say yes and break the chains of the past. And I believe that each person should have it at least once in their life. So I did that when I decided to leave my beloved family and come here all by myself in this American dream story and reach and touch and accomplish. And so when you transform from within, I believe fear ceases to exist, and you don't live a limited life. You go beyond this box.
And it says that you studied 5 chief avenues, whatever that means.
Meaning the idea that I studied, several topics that I believe will always be trending, especially to young people, meaning from how they take certain things and put that into practical application, and things like aesthetics and fashion, and things like enlightenment, meaning how can I have more emotional intelligence, how can I achieve my initiative, meaning how can I gain wealth, and other avenues that I brought and infused into the great adventures in the equation book, so they can actually say, you know what, I'm not just reading a great story adventure like I can see in the movies, but at the same time, I'm getting life lessons that will just transform me and whoever I love.
And you have started a company? Am I to understand that you started a company?
Yes, when I was 22, I saw how many young adults and how many young people who want to have their own company, want to be the masters of their own fate, want to be able to reach higher and say, you know what, I want to be able to be an inventor, I want to be able to be an artist, I want to be able to be a business guy, I want to be able to be an entrepreneur. And I said, you know what, I'm going to get this done. So, yeah, I opened a company, and that company, created the equation, which is, again, literally what I believe will give people their ultimate runway to accomplish their dreams. And then that's so important for me, because I believe the more people accomplish their dreams, the more people who are happy, the more all the challenges that the world faces will just disappear.
So let me just ask you, how, other than the book, the equation, I guess it's a book. Is that correct?
You're right.
What does your company do?
So now for another example, because it's very important for us to speak to the hearts and to the adrenaline rush of these young people all over the world. So we now created a mobile game. So in 7 days from now, it's going to be the first book in history, in modern time, that will also have a mobile game. And the mobile game is so cool. You will have fantasy and different exotic worlds, and people. It's a very simple control, tap and tilt. It's very much, you are jumping from one platform to the next to save planet Earth from robots. So it's very much the same idea of the book, meaning how you have to jump higher and higher in your life to save yourself and to transform higher from these robots called, all these labels or, the experiences and resumes that people put on you, and just go higher and higher, jump and jump and jump until you reach the top and you cross your finish line. So it's going to be the first book in the world to have this fantasy mobile game that will just be absolutely amazing. The designs and the backgrounds and the worlds are just stunning in terms of brilliant HD designs.
So when you say mobile, are you talking about, because I'm not real bright when all this stuff is, you talk about all this stuff, so are you talking about like the cell phone kind of
Yes,
thing?
exactly. So on the iPhone, so people can actually go and download a game from the iPhone. So first of all, they can go to Amazon, buy the book The Equation, and by James, and then they can go into the iPhone. And most Americans and people around the world have iPhone today. It takes a second to go to the App Store, download the mobile game, which is called also The Equation, and then see, wow, I can literally have for myself a pathway. I can both play a game, I can and read a book at the same time that can give me the absolute ultimate equation. How can I accomplish my dreams?
Well, it sounds kind of, what I want to say, kind of difficult for me to understand how all this happens, but I think that people who are into all of the mobile, the iPhone stuff and everything, I'm trying to learn these things, would know exactly what you're talking about. And we have about 2 minutes, and I'm not sure what else that you want to get across to our listeners. And also, I don't know if you go out anytime to speak to people or.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be more than happy, to, first of all, me and my associates, which is the PMBC company. It's called PMBC, which is a company that also represents me. And, we are now booking tours all across the country and all across the world to go and speak about it in different places and universities and beyond Baroque and TED, to give this message all across the world. We believe we are the only ones today that really understood what is the core of why people don't reach and accomplish their dreams. And now we believe we have the products that to explain that, and most importantly, we have the sheer passion to go and speak. So they can contact me through my website, which is the-equation.com. The word the, then the symbol dash, and equation.com. Or they can contact PMBC, the company, which is a very nice people, PMBC, who represent me. And they also can go on Amazon and buy the book. And I believe it will really change their life. With all my heart and soul, I believe in it.
Oh, okay. Well, this has been very interesting, and I didn't understand it all, but I'm sure that a lot of my listeners who have a little bit of, I don't want to say scientific understanding, but some of the understanding that I may not have, understands just what.
Why I believe you got everything that I said.
I hope so.
Absolutely, I believe in it.
I was trying. I know that.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, I believe that you got the equation down completely.
Well,
I can see by the questions that you ask. Anybody would see that.
Well, I hope so, and I hope that you continue with what you are doing and the concerns that you have for people and helping people to maybe say better themselves somewhat. So
you're right. That's the main thing, is that the people will just transform. It's their time to shine, and all that I want is for them to decide to go and believe, to say yes to the moment, and not to be boxed in a limited life, but to really expand. You live only once, and I want them to grab for greatness and to achieve their dreams. And I believe with all my heart and soul that the equation in my speaking circuits will give them this platform to have a better life. So before they die, they will smile and say, I achieved what I came here to do.
That's wonderful. James, thanks so much for sharing with us, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much, you, Gwen. Have a great day.
Yes, and you too. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
I invite you, as always, to write to me. Send me your comments and suggestions. Write to me, Gwen Blackburn, at clearchannel.com. And that is at 10 Cabot Road in Medford, 02155, Suite 302. Or, you can always get me at on my Facebook at fan page, facebook.com/Minority Counterpoint, or join me on Twitter at Gwen Blackburn 5. And until next Sunday, have a blessed week.